Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome back to all the participants joining me here on the session. So, participants, into today's session, you will learn about a very powerful tool called Vagrant, and you'll understand a very important segment called IAC, Infra as Code, or Infrastructure as Code. So, the agenda I want to put for today's session is learning more about the infrastructure as code and how can we use this infrastructure as code into our DevOps pipeline. Because if you understand IAC very well, then you will understand the concepts of cloud even very well. Now, how Vagrant is associated to cloud and how this Vagrant can be used into pipeline, you will learn today or you will explore today. You will explore today. So participants, for this, we are required to install Vagrant in our machines. I hope you should have done by now. If you open up your command prompt and type in cmd and check Vagrant, you should have installed Vagrant on your machine, Vagrant -- version. So Vagrant is installed. But the question is, what is this Vagrant? Why should be useful? We'll explore. So participants, if you look at the definition for Vagrant, it is very well known for creating virtual machines. Virtual machines are the backbone for any cloud provider. Take AWS, take Azure, take GCP. They all provide their respective services in the form of the virtual machines you create. In Azure, we call it as Azure Virtual Machines. In AWS, we call it as AWS EC2 instances. In GCP, we call it as Compute Engine instances. So these are the backbone for every cloud. Backbone in the sense, cloud provider heavily depends on these machines. So in order to create those machines, these cloud providers depend on these kind of tools, which basically automates the building and the management of virtual machines in one single workflow. So participants, Vagrant is a tool which can understand your request that you are trying to create a virtual machine. And with that virtual machine understanding, it will go ahead and create virtual machine for you. Maybe in your local system you want, you can create it. So participants, lot of companies use to create their sandbox environments. What is sandbox environment? Let's say they want to do some kind of testing where they don't have any machines in cloud. They will go ahead and use Vagrant to create their virtual machines in sandbox environment. So this way, what they will do, they will write a code for Vagrant and Vagrant will go ahead and provision that virtual machine for them. So what is the benefit? Like we create virtual machines, Vagrant also creates virtual machine, but it is via the code you write. Now, another question comes is, Kumar, when we can create virtual machines, why should I go ahead and use Vagrant? I'll come to that logic. I'll come to that query. So participants, how Vagrant works? Vagrant will not disturb your virtual box which you have installed, the hypervisor you will install. It will go ahead and just tell to hypervisor that hypervisor, please help me to create virtual machine that is given by Kumar as a piece of code to me. That is the logic part. We can create an Oracle virtual box, a virtual machine. I'll show you now how to create a virtual machine using Oracle virtual box. But at the same time, it is even more powerful to create Vagrant with Vagrant, the virtual machines. So how does it get created? You will write a Vagrant file. We call it as Vagrant file first. This Vagrant file will be taken by Vagrant and hand it over to Oracle VirtualBox. This Oracle VirtualBox starts provisioning the virtual machines for you. From there, you can do a connection to that virtual machine. Kumar, it's still confusing. I'm not able to relate. Then, participants, why we are awaiting to go ahead and let's go ahead and make our hands dirty by playing with these virtual boxes, playing with these virtual machines. Then all of this, whatever I've discussed, will start making little sense. Minimize this PPT. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and call up, before I hit my virtual machine participants, let me use some Oracle VirtualBox space. Let me learn from Oracle VirtualBox. So participants, after the installation, the page is going to look something like this. Oracle VirtualBox Manager. It's the hypervisor that you have installed on top of your operating system. My operating system is Windows. I have installed on top of my Windows machine this Oracle VirtualBox. See what Oracle VirtualBox can do. You can create virtual machines in your local machine, on your system, on your laptop. So it will ask me to go ahead and give a name. So let me just give a name called my VM or my Linux -VM. Just a name I gave. And it is going to go ahead and create inside a folder inside your machine. In your machine folder, admin folder, VirtualBox VMs is a folder. It will go ahead and create. Now, I'm looking forward for a Linux. Yes, I'm looking for a Linux box. Now, this is called Sandbox, or it's a kind of a machine. It's not physical machine. It's a virtual machine. It's a virtual hardware. And it will ask you what is a kind of operating system. I'm looking forward to use Ubuntu 64 version. You have various other options. Happily, you can use it. But for now, in cloud also, we will use Ubuntu. So that I'm trying to replicate the idea of a cloud server here on your local machine. Click next. My RAM size is around 6 GB RAM I have on my laptop. And out of that 6 GB RAM, it is asking how much would you like to allocate? And the recommended size, it says, give me 1 GB RAM for this machine. Okay, 1 GB of RAM. Can I increase the size? 2048, 2 GB of RAM for this machine. 10 GB should be sufficient. 1024 MB means 1 GB of RAM. Now, this is a virtual machine, right? It needs hard disk. So what is the amount of hard disk? Out of the hard disk that I have, it is asking me, can you please allocate 10 GB for this machine? Okay, I'm ready to allocate. File size, file type, VDI, whatever it is, just keep it. It says you want tomorrow, like if this machine needs extra storage space, would you like to allocate it? Yes, I would like to allocate it. The size of the storage is 10 GB of storage. That is drive, like something like a drive you can expect. Create. There you go, participants. Your machine is ready to use. Linux machine. So power it off. Sorry, I need to on. So I'm double clicking it so it will get started. And I can see it's going to be failed. The machine is going to get failed. Though it has started, it will give up. Given Ubuntu OS, did I give any Ubuntu OS to start? Participants, did I give any Ubuntu OS?
No. No.
No. So let me go ahead and close this machine for a while and ask this machine, hello machine, wait for some time. I'll go ahead and get Ubuntu machine OS. So participants, Linux, as you are aware, it's free, available on internet. Freely you can download it. So let's go ahead and look for Ubuntu OS. Ubuntu OS is a free Linux distribution available for free of cost. Download it anywhere. So you can go it and under download, and you can use Ubuntu desktop as the download. Now, if I start doing download, this will take roughly about 2 gigabytes of storage. So I'll cancel this. I have already an ISO image. ISO image means the image from which your machine can be launched. Participants, don't do right now download. If required, you can download. Even you don't need to download this as well. You don't need to do download. So just leave this download. Just for the purpose of demonstration, I'm showing you. So after this, you will download it and you will tell to virtual machine, I have ready-made image for you. Let me go to settings and you will see something called storage here and you attach the Linux. So give me a minute. Let me get my ISO image, which I've already downloaded. Just give me 1 minute. I'm picking this ISO image. I'll get it from my, what do you call it as, my Vault. Okay, so participants, I did get my Ubuntu download. Here it is on my screen. You can see here, ISO image. So just for the purpose of demonstration, let me show you how to attach this operating system. Click on settings for this machine. You'll get to see general system display storage. There is no disk for this machine to start. Select or yeah, please continue.
Your voice is breaking, Kumar.
I'm on a LAN. How about now? I'm closer to my mic.
Mm,
How about now, participants?
Now good.
Yeah. Now, is it good?
yes.
Okay. Now I'm attaching my disk. So on my desktop, you can see here, there is a image, ISO image I'll attach. And I'll attach this and choose this and done. So the machine is now attached with the Linux OS. Machine is launched, image is associated. The OS is installed. You can just visualize that way. Machine is created, OS is installed. Installation is done with an ISO image. Now, let's go ahead and start this machine by clicking this machine. So the machine will get started. Participants, this is how in cloud computing things work. This is how things work in cloud. Treat your own laptop like a big physical server in AWS data center. Imagine or visualize there is a server, very big server that is available in Amazon data center. On top of it, they will install operating system. Your operating system is Windows 11, right, or Windows 10. On top of it, they'll install their own operating system. So it's going to be something like this. Use a screen so that you can relate with this. Right now, in our system, that is, let's say I'll put it as on-prem. In premises, what we have our system. On top of system, we have the OS we have. On top of OS, we have installed our hypervisor. And on top of hypervisor, we are creating a VM. So this is your laptop for now. This is the OS that you have installed. This is Oracle Virtual Box, OVB. This is a VM that I've created just now. So this is in your premises or inside your premises, in office or whatever, without cloud. How things happen in cloud? Same thing. They have their own servers, but the servers are too big, very large size servers. They will too install an operating system on top of it. Okay, this is a physical server, HP. Yeah, that's the sound of our Ubuntu OS. And on top of it, they will also install Hyper-V, Oracle VirtualBox, OVB, a hypervisor. On top of it, they will ask you to create virtual machines of your own. You are creating only one virtual machine where we can create hundreds of virtual machines. 1, 2, 3, 4 VMs. Now VMs are created. How do you go and access those VM participants? What is the medium of accessing those VMs in cloud? You're inside your premises. You can connect this VM right now. I will show you. You can happily connect this VM inside your premises. But how you connect to those VMs? How do you go and connect it? What is the medium of connection?
RDP. Using RDP.
Think for one more minute. What is the medium of connection? What is required for
Internet.
to connect?
Internet.
Awesome. It's internet is required, right? Via internet, you can connect it. That is what is called cloud computing. So these guys are not using personal laptops, right? They will use very huge, powerful servers they will use. They will install on top of it an operating system. They will go ahead and give you a hypervisor. Till this, they will say, you will not see. They'll ask you create your own servers. So participant, this activity I don't need to do right now. Am I right? Why should I go and do when I'm getting these machines? And they'll say, hey, you're using these virtual machines, right? When did you start? Today you start. For the next 1 month you use and pay me for that. That's what we call pay as you go, pay as you use, pay, use, pay, use. Am I clear, everyone? Are we good?
Yes.
So what is the benefit for you? Are you managing the servers? Do you manage your server here in cloud?
No.
We don't even know which server it is. How will you manage? Do you see what operating system we are running?
Yes, we will see.
Just visualize. Do you see what kind of operating system you're running? Assume that Google Cloud, you use Google Cloud storage, right? Google Drive you use to store your files, videos, everything. You know which server it is running? It is somewhere in United States. I don't know which part of the world it is, where the server in which part of the United States it's in. I don't know. You know your file is there in Google Drive, but nothing more than that. In the same way, I know my virtual machine is there, but I don't know which server, which operating system, or is it Oracle VirtualBox or something. I'm not even aware of. But one thing I am aware is I'm creating my virtual machine. I'm creating and I'm accessing my virtual machine, and I'm paying for it. It's like you are getting a rental space to keep your virtual machine. That is the power of cloud participants. So the reason why I'm trying to pull this is, people, when it comes to DevOps engineering, you could have gone ahead and started to do DevOps on a local system. You could have done local laptop on local machines on your local servers premises. Yes, we can do that, but we cannot match the scale at which we can scale our instances. We cannot match how your virtual machines can be created. We cannot create like that. See how much time I have taken. I've took 5 minutes to create a virtual machine. And see, I have to do a lot of installations. And that too, it is a local machine. I'm on a local machine. In a world of cloud, who will use your local machine? No client. Are you doing everything, coding everything and deployment on your local machine? No. You just write your code and keep the code in GitHub. We go and do a deployment into cloud servers. So the idea was, what is basically a virtual machine? See, participants, now the idea is to go ahead and make you explore what is about virtual machines. So virtual machines are the servers that you create instead of local machines you create in AWS cloud, in Amazon data center. In Microsoft, if you create, it becomes Microsoft Azure. In Google Cloud, you create, it becomes Google Cloud Platform or Google Cloud Platform. You create virtual servers. So now it's another server for you people to go and access it. It's another server that is readily available for you to access. So you kind of create similar servers in Amazon data center, Amazon servers, Azure servers in Azure data centers you create. Google Cloud Platform, GCP you'll create, Oracle you will use. So every cloud provider is having their data center you are creating in their locations. Are we good, everyone? Participants, are we good? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pause this or power off this machine, because the idea of virtual box, if it is clear, are we good, everyone? Participants, are we good with the idea of virtual box? So now you have understood virtual box. Now let me go ahead and show you what is the relation between this virtual box and Vagrant and how this VM is created. Right now we have seen this part. We haven't seen what Vagrant gonna do into this virtual box. And after virtual box, after Vagrant, we will go and explore what it has to do in DevOps, what it has to do in cloud. Are we good, everyone? Are we good, everyone? Can we explore Vagrant now? Okay, so participants, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go ahead and remove this machine, because it is already occupying good amount of resources of mine. Otherwise, the system will become slow. I'm going to delete all of it. It's done. So participants, remember, on my Oracle VirtualBox, do you see any virtual machine as of now? Do you see any virtual machine as of now? Do you see any virtual machine running?
No.
Keep this in mind. Now, let's welcome Mr. Vagrant. Vagrant, welcome. Welcome. Now, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put up a new folder, people, called Vagrant -templates. All my Vagrant templates I'll create here. Into this, what I will do, I'll open up my Visual Studio Code to see how the code looks like. So I'll open up a folder or add a folder, file, add my folder. On my desktop, I have Vagrant folder. You see, participants, what is there on this folder? Empty folder. It's an empty folder. Now I'll open up my terminal and I'm inside this Vagrant folder. Now what I'll say, thank you very much, Vagrant. Vagrant, are you available on this machine? Could you please confirm? Yes, participants, it's available on this machine because you have installed it. It will be available on your machine. So it is confirming. Now, participants, what is the benefit for you and me to use Vagrant? Now you will understand. Participants, tell me what I have done while creating an Oracle VirtualBox VM. First thing, I have selected the version of the Linux, like Ubuntu I've selected. Linux, then Ubuntu. If you want, I will write that for you. First, I've selected the brand, or first I've selected the distribution OS. In that, I have selected Ubuntu. Then the RAM size. How much I gave you, participants? 1 GB of RAM. What is that storage I've consumed? 10 GB of hard drive. HDD. This is VRAM, we call it as virtual RAM. Participants, did we create this machine right now using Oracle VirtualBox? Did we
Yes.
create? Now, where did we create? In our local machine we created. You can create the same thing in cloud, participants. Linux VM, 1 gigabyte of 10 gigabytes of storage, you can create in cloud. You give me Azure cloud, you give me AWS cloud, you give me GCP, I will create it. But let's keep our focus on creation. How we'll create it. So participants, we have created on a local machine. Now, what I want to do is, I want to go ahead and ask, Vagrant, can you help me out in provisioning this same system? Once again, in local only. I'm not going to go to cloud. I'll come to cloud and I'll explain you the relation between cloud. But for now, once again, I want to create in local only. So Vagrant can go ahead and participants reach out to Vagrant Cloud. Vagrant, I'm looking forward for an Ubuntu machine. Could you please help me out? Ubuntu says, yes, Mr. Kumar, come to me. I have Vagrant Cloud and I have images for the same for the Ubuntu. See, there are Ubuntu images last 22 days ago. That means this is the latest release. So here these are called boxes, participants. Boxes means images in Vagrant on Vagrant Cloud. On Vagrant Cloud, these files are available or code is available. Participants, what I'll do, I'll just borrow this code for a minute. And I will go ahead and say, Vagrant, initialize me with an Ubuntu box with a brand called Kinetic 64. Kinetic 64 has nothing to do, it's just a dummy name. They use it for some kind of reference. I'm going to initialize it. So it will take about a minute to get a new file for you called Vagrant file. Participants, can you see a Vagrant file here? And participants, if you open up, can you see a code? A nicely documented code here. Participants, can you see a code here? Everyone, are you with me? Hello?
Yes, Kumar.
Yes, Kumar.
Now, wait and watch what I'm going to do for you. This is a piece of code. It's commented. I'm removing this comment. Even this is commented. I will remove this commented code. And I can see some forward ports. If you feel that this machine is outdated, you can check for updates and open the code. It's up to you. But as of now, it's okay. Here on the line, create a forward port. That means whatever the traffic that hits your port 80, it should go and map to localhost port 8080. Okay. We are already using port 8080 for Jenkins, right? So let's use another port 9090. Guest means the Linux machine, the Ubuntu machine right now we are using on this Vagrant box will talk to our port 9090. Okay. Do you want to give a private IP address for your machine? Yes, I would like to give a private IP address to this machine. Participants, just look what I'm trying to do. I will remove all the other specifications. Would you like to store your data? Here you can store your data. Where the data folder. Now, I would like to go ahead and also remove this line. So now, participants, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hit Oracle VirtualBox. You want a UI? No, I'm not interested in it. But yes, I'm more interested in this size for this machine. I'm interested in providing the size for this machine. What is the size? 1024. Purposefully, I'll make it 2048. See the line? Customize the RAM size. Okay, and some kind of code this will run on this machine to update it. Updates. So participants, how many lines of code you can see right now? Totally 13 lines of code. Now don't go ahead and try to understand it. If you understand it, you may not be able to understand it, but understand the purpose, why I'm doing this. The reason is there is a box code in which I have written the code to provision an instance. What is the size of that instance it is expected to provision, participants? 2048. What is the IP address of that machine? 192.168.33.10. What is the host port you should be able to access? Port 9090. But still now I'm not able to understand. No worries. Wait a minute and let me provision that machine. To provision, one simple command. Vagrant space up. So what it will do, it will understand, okay, Kumar has given me a box concept, which is to be Kinetic 64. If it is not there, it will download. It will check whatever the available virtual box it is. Participants, can you see the default provider in this case is what? Oracle VirtualBox. So that is what exactly it is doing here. Vagrant file has been created. Okay, Vagrant file has been created. Vagrant file went to Mr. Oracle VirtualBox and asked Oracle VirtualBox, please provision me Ubuntu Kinetic 64 VM. It is now doing the same thing. So participants, in this process, did I go ahead and slice any 1024 to 2048? No. Did I go ahead and attach any Ubuntu ISO image? The answer is no. I just gave a piece of code in 13 lines of code. I gave the code and I gave this code to the machine. So it finds something false with regards to the IP address or connectivity, network connectivity issue. So it is trying to install. So we'll do one thing. We'll not run this code. It is unnecessarily giving a confusion on this code. Okay, let's keep this as much as simple code possible. We will keep. Later we will add the code. Let me write one more time. So it's saying unable to fetch some archives. That means it is not able to download it. Okay, no problem. We will figure out later. But let's continue the provisioning. Let's continue. The machine is ready for us to use. The Linux machine I'm creating. One more time it is attempting. There you go, participants. Provisioner is ready. So now machine is ready. I'm going to ask Mr. Vagrant, please allow me. I want to access that machine. Vagrant, SSH. Will be able to do an SSH into that machine. I'm really excited. There you go, participants. Welcome to Ubuntu Kinetic Kudu, which is the Linux machine. Right now, I'm inside this machine. And you see the IP address for this machine? Okay. Now, participants, I'm inside the Vagrant. Can you see? I'm already inside the Vagrant shell. Let me open up my Oracle VirtualBox and you guys have to tell me. Participants, just before I started Vagrant, there was no virtual machine. Now there is a virtual machine running here inside this Oracle VirtualBox. Why participants? Why there is a virtual machine running inside this Oracle VirtualBox now? Why there is a virtual machine running inside this Oracle VirtualBox?
You have created through Vagrant.
Correct. we have created through Vagrant. Now, participants, let me summarize everything bit by bit to you. If you look at Oracle VirtualBox, participants, what did you understand from the Oracle VirtualBox? We have understood the Oracle VirtualBox is a system or a software that will turn either your laptop or your machine or a server that you have into virtual hardware units. So what is the kind of virtual hardware unit we have created using Oracle VirtualBox? We have created a Ubuntu machine. Am I right, participants? At the start of the session, did I create an Ubuntu machine? Am I right? Which was something I gave to Oracle VirtualBox and provision. But imagine if I have to go ahead and provision tens of Ubuntu machines. If I have given a task, if my manager says, Kumar, you have to go ahead and create 10 virtual machines, Linux machines. So I'll go crazy. Why? Because every machine is going to take time and it is very, very hard for me to create using Oracle VirtualBox. So then I'll go ahead and find a way to turn how fast can I go ahead and turn it. Then you will find Vagrant is a solution. So what Vagrant we have to do? We have to create a file called Vagrant file. Put the lines of code that you want. That I need a Ubuntu. Here it is. I need an Ubuntu. See, I need an Ubuntu box. So here an Ubuntu box. And I need the size of the machine is of 2 gigabytes of RAM, 2048, that is 2 gigabytes of RAM. I need a virtual box to be used. I need an IP address and I need a particular code. I'll write one line of code one time. Only one time I'll write this code. That's it, guys. You run it 10 times in a row, it will create 10 virtual machines. Am I clear, everyone? Within 5 minutes, I can create 10 virtual machines in a matter of 5 minutes versus a full day to create 10 machines. So participants, this logic of turning your requirement that you have, your infrastructure that you want to write is turned into code, infra as code. And this is one of the most powerful way, or this is one of the most powerful skill of a DevOps engineer. That means company will expect, Kumar, if you're joining, we expect very good skills in infrastructure as code using tools like Terraform, Packer, AWS, Azure. We need good programming skill, good provisioning skills involving these tools. Because they want to turn even infrastructure as code, participants. A virtual machine has been turned into a code. Now, participants, what is the advantage for a company? Advantage is if I go and write this code, participants, and share it to my company will keep this code in GitHub. Tomorrow, if they terminate me, if my company terminates me, all of this code is safely available in GitHub. So the new employee will only use this GitHub code and run the server provisioning. Did you get the logic? If they hire me, I will write all the code and I'll keep the code and I'll give it to company. Company will keep in GitHub. Company will fire me. So the new employee will come. He will use all the code that is written and run it. If I don't write the code, what will happen? The new employee cannot use the code. So they will ask you to write the infrastructure as code. That is, participants, this is the next skill that we have to start building for us. That was the reason, participants, I have taken Vagrant as a tool that you can easily relate with. Am I clear, everyone? Hello? Participants, now you are able to relate with this. Now, this is a Linux machine, participants, running in your system. Open up your Oracle VirtualBox. It will tell you what is the properties of this machine. See, it is a Linux machine. Vagrant. Vagrant. Yeah, even it is coming to the same console. Vagrant is a username, Vagrant is a password. Minimize this console. So participants, see, it is of nature Ubuntu. Machine nature is of Ubuntu. What is the size, participants? 2048. You see, there is 2048. How did it come to attach 2048 RAM size, participants? How it is able to go ahead and take the RAM size of 2048? Because in the code I've mentioned the size as 2048. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, participants, is that I'm going to exit from this machine. I'm back on my local machine. And I'll say, Vagrant, thank you very much. I have completely done. I'm now convinced that I'm able to go. Now, one step, Terraform, destroy. One command, done. It will even destroy your machine as well. It will go ahead and confirm the destroy. Kumar, are you sure that you want to destroy this machine? Yes, please. I'm done. So participants, if you want to recreate, just go ahead and run this code one more time. Vagrant, please make it up. Even before that, let's confirm in this. See, it is deleted. Everyone, are we good? I'm able to manage it. So participants, how it is related to cloud? Now a question also might be running through your minds that how, Kumar, this Vagrant is related to cloud. Participants, Vagrant is related to cloud in this way. We are on the other side of the cloud. So what cloud providers they do is they cannot go ahead and create every time. So what they do is they put their servers, physical servers. They will definitely have an operating system on top of it. And they will install hypervisors like OVB, as I already mentioned. So on top of it, they would be using something like Vagrant, a tool like a Vagrant. Now, Vagrant is a tool which will understand your request. You will say, hey, I need a virtual machine of 1 GB of RAM and the operating system should be Ubuntu. Can you go ahead and provision it? So these details are taken and these details are forwarded to the cloud provider via internet to the Vagrant tool in the backend. Till now, you don't see anything. This is what they don't show you anything. And they will go ahead and give. So Vagrant will receive, hey, Kumar has requested 1 GB of RAM and Ubuntu machine. It will hit OVB. OVB will go ahead and provision on your physical server a small virtual machine of 1 GB of RAM, and the operating system will be Linux OS. OS will be Linux. This OS we call it as guest OS because you are the guest for them. That is a guest OS. This OS is called host OS. This is a physical server which you don't get access. This is a OS you don't get access. Oracle VirtualBox is managed by them. Vagrant is a software backend. You will only access this server, participants. For you, this is the only server that will be visible. What is a medium? Internet. You connect to your machine, you run your application into that machine. So that is the power of Vagrant, participants. That is the power of cloud. I hope you guys have now understood what is Vagrant. I hope you have understood what is Oracle VirtualBox and I hope you have understood the relation inside the cloud. Now, participants, it's time for us to go ahead and start taking our footsteps into the cloud. Even before that, I would like everyone to understand if you have done installation of Vagrant, try practicing Vagrant commands, try practicing the Vagrant code. If you want, I'll give you the code, but make sure you destroy that Vagrant machine after your practice is done. And I'll give you the code. This is a Vagrant file that I have provisioned. Just run it. After that, you destroy your code. Here the code is. Carefully copy it, participants. You want, I'll please practice it. This format is little important because Vagrant first line and end line. This is a config box. This is a provider. If you want to practice, practice. Otherwise, I hope you are now able to relate what is Vagrant. Everyone, are we good, participants? So tomorrow, participants, if I ask you to go ahead and use a sandbox on your local machine, will you use Vagrant? Participants, will you use Vagrant? I would request you people to use Vagrant, sandbox environment. Tomorrow, if company says we are looking forward for a virtual machine setup in our local environments, not on cloud, please use Vagrant. Vagrant is also an essential skill for a DevOps engineer. Now, one line I'll put, participants, how this coding will go ahead and help for a DevOps engineer. Participants, when you move to cloud, even the same logic will apply. Provisioning servers is required. So for that, you will write the code similar to Vagrant code. That is the Terraform code you will write. That is the Packer code you will write. Same logic of Vagrant you will do with Terraform into cloud. Terraform on cloud like AWS or Azure. And this is a very, very powerful skill, participants, that you are required to build upon. DevOps engineer without infrastructure as code is not at all going to be considered as a DevOps engineer. Okay, so let me quickly summarize what we have learned for today, people. So participants, today we have learned about Oracle VirtualBox and the usage of it in provisioning machines. And we have seen how powerful Vagrant can play a role in provisioning the servers in line with your Oracle VirtualBox by considering the Vagrant file. So this is where we will write the code into the Vagrant file, and Vagrant will go ahead and talk to Oracle VirtualBox in provisioning the VMs. So if you want to have a Linux machine in your system, participants, on your Windows machine, happily run this command. These 2 lines are sufficient. Vagrant, even if you write this command, it is going to run, participants. So if you run these 2 lines also on your local, on your machine, this 2 lines, Vagrant init, it will download. Vagrant up, it will start your virtual machine. 2 lines. Vagrant, I want Ubuntu, it will download Ubuntu. After you download it, it will start the machine. You don't need to even write this code also. Just 2 lines is sufficient for you to start your virtual machine. If you want, give it a try. And this is a link. You can download it, run it, anything. So, participants, I hope this session was informative to all of you.